You are listening to the Lunchtime Conversation.
Explore the weird, the wild, the odd.
That's the whole point of a lunchtime conversation is like you just bring up some stupid little, hey, what do you think about when you go to sleep? And then it can turn into something fun if you actually explore it and talk about it versus like, oh, well, that's stupid. So what I want to talk about with aliens, because there's so many different things that we could do, is more the what would change for you guys personally if, so it's almost it's to go into it from a bunch of different points of view. So aliens land on the White House lawn, walk out, start talking, and like it's legit. It's not like a hoax. It's not like you're like, oh, holy cow, this is legit.
They have presented themselves.
Yes, they have opened up the doors and they're like, yep, we're here and here's what's going on. And maybe we don't even know what they're talking about with the leaders, but we know like, holy shit, there's aliens and they're alive and they're from a different, like we know they're aliens. We know they're from a different planet. We don't know how far away.
But so far, they want nothing to do with us. They're on the White House lawn.
So I would say, like, yeah, it's breaking news that, like, hey, aliens have landed. Like, they're here. And so we don't know anything yet, really. But what would it change for you guys personally? Would there be anything where it's like, holy shit? Like, would it shake you from, like, what you believe in or the way you view your reality? Mm-hmm. And then I want to dive into what would it do to the world? Because I think the world standpoint, I think it would shake it big time. But first off, I want to know what it would happen to you. So this isn't they're legit. And so for me, I've had time to think about it. So I'll go first while you guys think about it a little bit. But for me, I think going back to, I would almost still be skeptical. Like if they showed up, I would still be like, no way. Like they're really just me. And like, I don't know. I would
think
still,
it's like some moon landing.
Yes, like it would be like, is this a trick?
If Biden got on the TV with a teleprompter and went, American citizens, there are aliens amongst us. We are in talks, negotiations, and discussions.
And
that is all.
Video popped up,
and it showed them getting out of the spaceship and walking
they're like with him as he's talking to the people.
Dude, that'd be so wild. Like, okay, that would make it more believable. Because why would they do that? That wouldn't be a hoax.
So if you saw it on TV, that's when you'd believe it.
I don't know. I think no. I guess. I mean, like, I don't know. It would just be so. I don't see that happening. So if it did happen, it would just be wild. It would be like I have to sit down and process this. Like I wouldn't know how to react honestly. And my worry is now to dive into some of the world aspect is I think there would be riots. Like I think the next day there would be people like storming the streets. Like we want to see the aliens. Like I'm going on strike until we find out what the aliens like. I think it would
definitely have like a humans first mentality.
Oh, dude, it would get wild fast. I think it would go crazy.
There might be. I kind of see it a little bit more as until something changes in people's lives because of the aliens or since the aliens, people won't generally care.
But go back to COVID. Nothing had happened COVID-wise. It was just rumors
until it changed people's lives.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is no, I'm going back to when the shelves started to get empty and then toilet paper started to run out. And then you
scare of what may happen.
Yes, it was just there. They hadn't even done any lockdowns. And I remember because I had
happened. Have you guys seen War of the Worlds with
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Right when that happens, all the vehicles don't work and everyone's just at that point. Everyone's in bunkers.
Yeah, they did do something.
Yeah, but I think there's still that catalyst of something is changing in people's lives. As long as people are comfortable in their lives,
they don't care.
They don't care. People don't care.
But that's how COVID was. There was nothing that had changed except the rumor mill, and the rumor mill is what started the toilet paper. And I don't know where that came from. But then you go to the store to like, is toilet paper really out? And then you're like, oh shit, like all the milk's gone. Well, dude, I need eggs this weekend. So you take the last carton of eggs. Someone else shows up. They like, well, I need butter, and there's only 3 things of butter, so I'm going to take all 3 of those.
And that's what preppers who ruined everything.
I don't think so.
I think it was the mass panickers. I don't think it was preppers.
No, it was the preppers.
The guys already had the toilet paper,
like a closet full of toilet paper. Sure.
Okay, it was the preppers who aren't prepped. It was the preppers who still because how about
preppers just when it comes down time to it.
I just get on it early. So that's what I'm saying is like, okay, something happened, and then there was a thing. I remember the article. It was something along the lines of like, big, toilet paper factories in China are running out of stock.
Yes.
Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other thing. And then so that's when people were like, grab an extra roll.
He was spun that up on purpose.
Ooh, maybe, but that's another episode. But okay, and then it just went that simple, and then people saw that the toilet paper rack was half as full as what it was, and I'm like, oh, shit, maybe I'll grab an extra one too. It seems like that was true.
Yep.
And then as soon as someone was like, oh, it's out, okay, now shit's fucked. So going back to the aliens, to bring this back, I think it's gonna be it'll be very similar. Is as long as there isn't enough panic to cause things, or enough difference to cause people to start noticing things are wrong, then it'll be pretty calm. But as soon as there's a law that comes out, or
that you can't shoot at any UFOs flying around.
right, then you're like, okay, now shit's
Think
starting
so?
to
I
change.
don't know. I think you're underplaying it a little bit.
Now, people don't like change,
But I
As
think
long as there's no
people's
change, we're good.
worldview would change. Like
Okay, yeah, maybe.
the way you live your life is now going to be different with the knowledge that aliens are here.
And I look at it from a religious standpoint. So you gotta look at it from a religious standpoint, which I'm the religious zealot, remember, so I have all the answers. I think most religions are set up that there is a God and he is all powerful and nothing is smarter and better than him. And I would even dare say most religions look at God as almost a male figure that's in the sky that knows everything. So you're telling me if a green figure shows up and he's not distinguishable to man, like I think most religions would start to panic a little bit because they would be like, oh no, this isn't Christ. Like Christ is a God that was just looked like us, that was on the cross. Like I think most religions would be like, oh shoot, now what?
Now to level that up a little bit, what if they landed and they said, "Hey, put you here 100,000 years ago.
Dude.
Look what you've become."
Dude,
That would be wild. See, now that would be off the chain, but before that, don't most religions kind of leave a pocket for alien life?
So the LDS religion believes that here's the funny thing. If you talk to a lot of LDS people and you'll be like, do you believe in aliens? They're like, oh yeah, we talk about it in church. Like God created worlds without number and there's people on all over,
look like us.
but they're all humans. And so that's the thing, I think, from an LDS standpoint, that if green aliens showed up, they'd be like, oh shit, so the church isn't true? And then they would like, that would be a huge change for them. You look at like Catholics.
But
or
they also
Jews.
used to believe that black people weren't people. So I mean,
But that's
they would shape their opinion of whatever.
true.
Like,
They would spin it to how they
Well,
want.
that's what I'm getting at. Is like I think there's enough leeway in most. I don't know.
In most, okay,
I don't know a ton about all the religions. I'd say in most religions, there's enough
it's
leeway.
God testing us.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
enough
I can see
leeway
that.
that it doesn't bust the framework.
don't fall
Of-
to our brothers.
Yeah, it doesn't bust the framework of the religion to where it's like, oh,
It's broken.
okay, that's what this interpretation meant. When he said, thou shalt not kill, it was the aliens. It was the aliens.
Don't
You know,
kill the aliens.
Yes. or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's enough there.
So from a personal opinion, because you asked two questions up front,
Yes. How would
personal
you react?
perspective,
Yes. Okay.
for me, it changes almost nothing. You would probably change something. I just don't know what yet. I already believe that we're not alone. I already believe that there are other planets out there that have just as much life as us, just as much intelligence, if not way further beyond.
Yep. Agree.
So in my mind, it doesn't really change how I feel about aliens or what's going on. Probably would to some degree, but not much. I just think of like Futurama. I'd be like, I'm cool with them. Let them walk around. I don't give a shit.
I'm kind of the same way where it would be very interesting. Wonder what's going to happen. But it wouldn't change my worldview. Wouldn't change my reality. It would more just be like, kind of figured they were, but I wasn't expecting it in my lifetime. That would be the surprising part.
But then you got to look at like an employer standpoint. What if like the place we work? I edited it. The place we work. What if they're like, hey guys, we don't know how this is going to be reacted to by a global standpoint. So in the meantime, we're going to have you work from home. So immediately we go into like COVID lockdown. Like that's the thing that I think people would start to react. It would be a chain reaction that even if everyone was calm about it, there would be things that the shelves start being empty because they see one less package of toilet paper type of thing. Like that's what gets worried. Like you'd start to see guys carrying around like AR-15s and bullet vests. You'd be like, dude, why is he like strapped?
There would probably
Yeah,
be that.
There probably be some of those.
And so
people.
then you would start to think differently, and that's the thing I think would.
Would
really
you, if
start
they
to-
came out and they came out with Biden says, I'm going to give the aliens an opportunity to talk. They know English. They're going to talk to you. They come out and they talk and they say, hey, friends, want to help you guys advance into a level 1, level 2 civilization, type 2 civilization,
Okay.
or type 3 civilization. We want you to help you harness your sun and expand with us, be part of our communion or whatever it
There's
is.
no way.
If they did, how would that shape humanity? Because those guys wouldn't. They probably would be like, those guys with Alex Jones died. They're here to kill us all.
Exactly. And that's where I think the panic would be, because then you would have people storming the White House lawn to kill the aliens because they think it's a trap. And then you'd have other people killing those people because it's we want to be able
These
to.
are our prophets.
Yeah. Like, and that's where I think it would get wild.
I think you guys are getting off the wall. I think what in history and can we look to that would be at least somewhat comparable?
The Indians and the pioneers, the people who came across.
Wasn't that bad?
True. And that is probably the.
For who? It's pretty bad, man.
Well, like, we were the aliens, I guess.
I know.
Exactly. Yes, and I think that's
And
my
we
thing
killed
is
them all.
Everything in history that's ever happened like that, where a civilization moves into a less advanced civilization, they just dominate it and take it over.
Yeah, but that was the intention of the people coming over. What if
Sure,
the aliens
okay,
had
say-
an intention
What if we went to Mars? What's our intention to go to Mars?
to colonize it.
To colonize and learn. Colonize, yeah. Okay. What if we showed up and they finally came out of the rocks like, hey, brothers, we've been here all along. It's aliens, green men living on Mars. What would we do?
We would bomb them and take over.
We would bomb the shit out of them.
We
Even though that was not our intent. And at first, we would go, this is ours.
Exactly. And eventually, and we might sit down with their president and be like, hey, we come in peace. You guys are just rock aliens. We want to help you advance to being able to come out of the rocks. But
Rock
in the
aliens
back of our
can't use the
minds-
bathrooms. They got different drinking fountains. Rock aliens, man. Get rid of them. That's what we would be thinking, dude. Humans are messed up.
we are. And that's what
There's some
scares me
worry.
is it would.
Conflict species.
We are.
Yes.
That's why they haven't visited us. And if they have, that's why they're staying away.
And they're like, they're so smart that they would figure out everything we know, and then they would.
No,
murder
they're
us
so
with it.
stupid. They would think they could figure out what we were trying to do.
No, because no. Hang on. Let's go down this line of thought. Because if they know we're here, and so there's only 2, maybe 3 ways that they're looking at it. One is Star Trek, where they're so primitive that we won't even talk.
Yep.
Right until they advance to a certain point. 2 is, damn, that shit's crazy, and it either if they knew and they knew that we were a threat, then they would just kill us. They would just exterminate us, like we would do with a colony of ants in our house. Yeah, they're termites, right?
Yep.
Now they're just going to destroy the house. Like let's just
kill them.
Get rid of them. They're weak, but that hasn't happened to us, right? So it's probably not that one. The other one is that they don't want to get contact with us because they can't destroy us, and we know that we can destroy them. So let's just try and stay as far away as we can, because
Or
if as soon as they know, they'll come looking.
are they advanced enough that they know that our diseases and our biologics don't intertwine with theirs, and therefore we'd kill them based on that?
Then I'd say they're dumb because they haven't found a way to fix it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like War of the Worlds, right? They came down, they were so advanced, but any bacteria, they didn't know about the bacteria.
Yeah,
Get the
exactly.
hell out of here.
Yes.
That's the
Yep.
biggest plot
They
hole.
didn't know the water would kill them.
Exactly. Like what?
Yep.
You figured out how to plant the machine here hundreds of years ago, but you failed to figure out that there was bacteria. There's
Yes.
no bacteria on your planet.
Yep.
Baloney.
Here's my other problem with even talking about, expanding the topic a little bit. I don't like the fact that there's been government hearings where they're talking about, yes, there's crashed alien ships and we've found non-human biologics. So you're telling me there's an advanced alien species that can travel through the galaxy. They've figured that out. They can make it to us, but then they crash when they get here. Because I can guarantee you, if we send a ship to Mars to start to colonize it, there's a 99.9% chance it'll land perfectly and will not have any hiccups.
By the time we're sending ships to colonize, we're not crashing.
No. And so
Right.
that's where I have a hard time with it. So you're telling me there's a scouting ship that came to Earth and then crashed? It made it all the way through the galaxy. It went through the wormholes. It did all this stuff. Then it got here and crashed. Like, come on. No, I don't buy that there's alien ships crashing left and right.
But okay, that pull it down to compare it to exploring the new world in boats. Plenty of boats that didn't make it. Plenty of boats that got here, crashed, and got stranded.
So,
Why
like,
does space travel? Why is space travel different?
because you have to be so advanced to get to space travel.
We're advanced with boats too. That's true. Like,
They're not going to crash anymore.
And that's what I'm saying is we don't.
boats. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, our
we've
boats
been
don't
doing it
crash.
for a long time now. At this point, what if these are the new ones who just showed up and they were the first ones to come and that they're crashing?
You're right, but you had to kind of compare it to what we know, which is what we can do, and you can see it like if we were to be sending out scouts with biological matter, that shit ain't crashing. You're right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to get to
Yeah.
that step, we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
Well,
because
that's why there's part of a conspiracy that they believe like aliens aren't biologics; they are robotics or so advanced AI that it may mimic biologics because your body can't take. Have you seen what they do in those spaceships?
Oh yeah, where they like just shoot off.
Yeah,
in the
your
middle
body
of nowhere,
can't
your body
handle that.
can't handle that. But
Right.
AI could.
So okay, now here's this might explain it. They got so advanced to the point where okay, let's send someone through that. Happens, right? And so they don't. That was their first chance. It was their first try.
oh,
And they sent him through. Didn't work quite right, but the person was still trying to survive, and so tried to make it
Just
to
hit the
Earth,
planet.
and then just hit
Oh.
or something, right?
that. See, I like that.
That's
Oh,
explanation.
here's the other thing that they are sending them. If you think about a wormhole, it's not like it's got a exit 65 as you go into it. It's like, hey, this will plot
Unless
out
they're
the solar
advanced enough, they
system.
can control it.
True, but I'm thinking like right now, like
Yeah.
Interstellar, like when in Interstellar movie,
Yeah.
like they just see a wormhole, they don't know anything about it, so they're just like, well, let's try it out and see what happens, and that's what happens is they go through, and then they crash on this planet, they crash on this planet type of thing. Because then they send out parties before him, and that was the whole point of Interstellar is he was going to find
Yes.
those parties. So I think that could be a situation with it. They're advanced, they can travel in space, and they're like, hey, we found a wormhole, let's send some scouting ships through it. They go through the wormhole, it messes up some of their electronics. Then they're here in the solar system. They're like, hey, I think there's life on that planet. Let's go over there. Then they do crash because their ship was damaged because of the wormhole travel. I could see that.
Going back to Interstellar, they didn't go through wormholes.
Yeah,
They did.
there's a wormhole out by Saturn.
For
Jupiter.
It was the black. It was next to the black hole.
No, it's just a wormhole. So in Interstellar, they had found a wormhole out by Jupiter or Saturn or something, and so they sent a whole bunch of scouting ships through it to go find other planets. And then that's when he went
Was
to
it
go.
a wormhole? Because they were sleeping, weren't they?
Yeah. The only
I remember they
No
sent
one went
Tars,
through
the
a wormhole.
robot, to the black hole.
Yeah,
it
but
was
that's at
like-
the end. They went to the black. He decided they were too close to the black hole, and he's like, "Well, let's send the robot to there." At the very start of it, I'll look it up here in a second. But they're very
Which he
start
goes through the black hole anyways, and it's kind of
because remember at the wormhole, he's going through it, and they could see themselves in reverse, and they're like talking about the science behind it of like, yeah, you're traveling through space time.
that where she's like touching the wall and like
Yes.
that's
touches
the
back
end.
at her.
That's the black hole.
That's the black hole.
There was
I think
no
they were
wormhole.
riding the edge of a black hole when that happened to hit to get more speed around it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like right on the edge of it.
They what you're thinking of is they sent people out to go look for new planets, and they had cryogenic sleep.
Right.
And so in the movie, when every time he wakes up, it's been 10 years, and then he gets all the videos, and so there's no black hole, there's no wormholes, I don't think.
I think it's a black hole they
It's a
ride.
black hole at the very end that he just drives into because why not?
Well, he had no other option.
I'd have to go watch
Yeah.
it again. It's been so long.
That's the one plot hole in Interstellar is like how to get back to the planet they were on at the end.
The black hole
Spoiler
spit
alert.
about somewhere.
Exactly. Spoiler alert, it just happened.
Yeah, that was the one thing where it's like he goes into the black hole.
Best movie of all time, and they went,
And then- Oh, you know what? I think he. Yeah, what the hell?
because he's like pushing books off of the wall for himself in like the fourth dimension or whatever.
Tatel,
Yes.
what was her name?
His daughter.
Lucky.
Bucky.
Um,
So back to aliens, circle it back. I do think, even personally, I think I would be one of those preppers that haven't prepped enough, and I would go buy more at the store.
If aliens showed up, you would just.
as a just in case, I would too.
On the way home, I would
No.
stop off. And
I would
I'd
go buy ammo.
more. I would buy
You
more
guys are part
ammo
of the
than.
problem.
Dude, because the thing is, you don't know. So when the shit kicks off, people like you are screwed.
But why would she kick? Shit only kicks off because of you guys. Because you guys are prepping for something that doesn't need to be prepped for.
Yeah,
But it might.
That's
That's
what
what I'm
prep now and not when it happens.
do you think
because
that's
I
what
don't-
Europe was saying when Germany started attacking themselves? Like, started trying to take everyone over? We shouldn't have. We're glad we didn't prep.
So I think my reasoning is here's a lazy prepper reasoning. Right now I have limited supplies. It is okay if say this happened right now on the news, it would be totally fine for me to drive home and tell my wife, hey, I spent $600 on ammo on the way home. And she would text me back and be like, yeah, with the news update, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that wasn't
Because if
enough. You should have bought more.
Because if next week the economy collapses, no one's going to care about that $600 of credit that I haven't paid off on my credit card. And that's where I think the lazy prepper thing comes in is I will need this eventually because I do shoot guns. I do this. So it's worth the gamble to buy that ammo and then just not buy ammo for the next year and a half type of thing. Does that make sense?
That's fair. I can agree with that because either way, you're gonna make use of it.
Do you
Yes.
save your money? Do you have a form of saving some kind of currency for the future?
Yeah.
You do.
Prepper.
You have a 401k.
Yeah.
You're essentially prepping your future.
Oh, I'm okay with prepping. That's not the
but
issue.
not panic prepping.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, not panic prepping.
See, I don't think
when the aliens show up and you're on your way home and you saw a video or a news article while you're sitting at work, and it was Biden talking with the aliens, and you go, I'm gonna stop off at the local Walmart and grab an extra gallon of milk and some toilet paper. Like, get the hell out of here with that shit. Buying some ammo, okay, maybe.
See, but that's, I think what's happened is you would have, everyone's going to do that to some extent. Everyone's going to be like, okay, this makes me nervous. I'm going to buy a little extra today.
yeah. You wouldn't on your way home be like, my gas tank's only a quarter. I'm gonna fill it up just in case. Boom! You just became the problem that you're speaking of.
You're
Like,
right. But
it
I
would-
hate that. I hate that mentality because
But that's humans.
it's stupid humans. Because that's what
It causes it
That's what-
snowballs.
exactly. That's what caused the toilet paper conundrum of
Yes.
2020 was people saw an article that said, they might be kind of running low. And so what do? They just buy everything. And now there's no supply because there was one little article and you're a little scared. And so you bought hundreds and hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. And now what are you going to do with that?
And that's my thing is it would be small little panic that snowballs. I think it would be catastrophic. Like, and that's why I think if they are going to show up, they would never do it like that. It would be closed doors meeting. No one would know about it. And I don't even know how they'd
Trevor,
break it.
here's the thing, man. They already have.
I know, but how would they break it? Are they ever going to break it to us? Like,
No.
say they have. Never?
No.
Never.
No. If I'm an intelligent species that just is on a planet of other intelligent species, and I know I'm smarter than them, how am I going to control and manipulate them? I'm going to become one of them. How am I going to do that? By either infiltrating a government, being part of one of them if they can somehow shapeshift or morph or disguise themselves of sorts. They would
An
do
AI
that.
body.
Of AI body. They would control us through other means that we wouldn't even comprehend. We wouldn't even be able to think about.
That's a good point because we just talked about that in the first episode with what we would do if we went back in time.
Oh, yeah.
I said that
We would try to
we would,
influence them
we would assimilate and we would influence
and show them our power.
show
A
power.
few people, get them to buy into us.
Right.
And you're probably right because it's well, I mean, what would you do? Let's say you're in power, right? You're in power. Aliens show themselves to you, and you're an honest, in power kind of guy. You don't want to create panic.
Yeah, I would keep it a secret.
Exactly.
You keep it a secret until they're ready.
I don't think we would ever be ready. Maybe on like 500 years.
They're going to have some kind of agenda that you don't know of.
Or you can help them get ready.
True.
You can leak something, and then let that sit for 6 months. And then
Yeah,
take it
we just
out.
found non-human biologics.
So, and that
Let
is
it
why,
simmer.
Let it
and that is
simmer.
why I am curious if they are leaking some of this stuff because it's like, dude, they've been here since Roswell. They did, because that is one of the theories.
Been here
They
since
did,
before that.
Yeah.
Ancient Egyptian times that got writing all over the walls about UFOs and stuff.
Oh,
you're going
They
ancient
do.
aliens.
They for real, they do like have some weird stuff where you're like, what the hell are they drawing?
So on the UFO, I know one thing with the UFOs, there's been more sightings since the atomic bombs were dropped.
Yeah.
And that does line up for me. Like, say aliens.
for
are
a
very-
small period of time, maybe.
What do you mean a small period of time? Do you know how many nukes we detonated and testing.
They just showed
sure.
that a hot spot on Earth right now is Hiroshima and Nagasaki is a huge hot spot for UFO sightings.
Still to this
Still
day?
to this day.
And to this day, the most UFO sightings are over nuclear bases. Like, that is one thing that is some of the UFO guys, like, that's what they talk about, is they started showing up during the atomic bomb testings, and they've been here ever since, and they do.
They planted us here and they want to make sure we don't kill ourselves.
And it makes sense to me, like, if you're advanced, like, that's probably one of the signs is like, dude, they're starting to create some pretty powerful bombs here. And
They
so,
literally made the sun in their backyard.
Yes. Well, I'm looking at it kind of like, back in the 70s and 60s, there's a lot of sightings, right? That was like the big craze back then. Nowadays, just don't really hear a whole lot about the sightings. So I'm equating it to like the Bigfoot sighting. And ever since the smartphone and everyone
True.
has a
They've
really
gone
nice
down.
camera in their pocket,
Not much more is captured.
there hasn't been really any talkings of Bigfoot anymore.
but I would say
And
there's been
UFOs.
military things that have been released that we never even came close to capturing back in the 60s or 70s.
But is it controlled opposition on purpose to make you think? To control the flow of news because, oh, look over here, aliens.
True.
Flow of news over here.
Hey, Jeffrey Epstein walks out of prison. He was never killed.
Look at UFO.
Hunter Biden didn't do anything. UFO. So what I do want to know, getting deeper into it, is what are your true actual thoughts on aliens? You believe? If you do, what do you believe?
So going back, I'm very skeptical. If they are here, I don't think they're here. If anything, they're just scouting the area. But we don't. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I wouldn't think that there's aliens that are here that are conversing with the government. It would leak somehow. They would get caught somehow. Like that's just, I don't know. I'm skeptical. I subscribe to it, just like you said.
Okay, if you subscribe to it, you believe that they exist somewhere.
Yes.
What do you think they are? If you had to bet, what would they be?
Anything and everything. Like there's some alien planets where they're extremely light individuals because the planet's so heavy, and that's the only way to like as far as
Okay,
like
so
what
you're
they
just all
look
over
like,
the spectrum.
oh, yeah, they're all,
Something's out there.
yeah, something's out there. There's so many different types of life form, intelligent life form. Like you got Chewbacca's and you got freaking lizard people, like anything and everything.
Isn't that kind of interesting to think about? Is where in every movie about aliens, they've all been very anthropomorphic. They've all been very human-esque.
Yes.
Two legs,
Because we're
2 arms, and a head.
Yep.
But
what we
in
think
reality, right? It's hard to think about anything else. But in reality, they could be literally anything.
think about Earth alone. How many species of different creature do we have? We have centipedes with hundreds and hundreds of legs on them. Imagine seeing a
And
40-foot
the
tall
deep sea.
centipede.
Exactly. So like alien life forms, it's not just the green man with the big head.
Yes.
It could be the
Yep.
scariest freaking thing that you can even imagine,
Yep.
or it could look exactly like us, and everything in between.
But they're miniature. They're borrower size.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Borrowers?
No, I never saw that.
What?
I
You don't? They're just like 3.5-inch tall people, and they're borrowers because they'd steal stuff from real people to live on.
Eating in the cupboard.
No, borrowers.
Yeah,
It's
there's
so
Alien
awesome.
Cupboard, there's Borrowers, and what's the one with Matt Damon?
Oh, size downsizing.
Downsizing. That's right. They did something like that. Too.
That's a good one.
Okay,
Where
okay.
there's the you can.
If you
pay-
like AI, you would like that movie actually.
Downsizing?
You've
Yeah.
not seen that one?
I haven't seen
You
that
could
one.
pay money to downsize your body. They scale you down to a mini form to save
Oh,
area.
like resources.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the area.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and you get to keep all your wealth too. So,
Oh, so then buying a
So-
piece of bread, like you buy one slice instead of a whole loaf.
Right.
you'd buy a
Oh.
crumb. Yeah, so that people go there to like retire on,
Interesting.
because
That is kind of
a
cool.
little bit of champagne, is
A lifetime's worth.
It's crazy.
That is an interesting topic.
You'd like it. So what I would believe. Or, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say back to aliens. I think they're out there. If they visited us, my only thought of that they have crashed is because they went through the wormhole.
Yeah,
They got damaged a little bit. They crashed. That's why we're finding them. I don't think that they're talking to heads of government. I think it would have been.
Do you
leaked.
think we've been visited by something?
Yeah, I do think that there has been UFOs that are flying around. I have a hard time believing they've crashed, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I don't think so. I don't think that we've been visited yet.
Really?
I could easily be convinced otherwise. I just haven't seen enough or heard enough or whatever to be convinced that, yeah, they've been here.
Okay.
I think a lot of the things can probably be explained in some way, you know, an army, military type thing. Obviously, that's probably what they'd want you to think if they have been here. And so I get that. But I haven't, I think that there would be more of a deal if they were here in any fashion other than potentially crashing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think we probably would have, because what's the likelihood that they've only crashed at military bases? They didn't crash in.
You haven't heard about the school in is it
Yeah.
Africa, the African school? Africa.
No, down in Brazil.
It was Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a school in Brazil where they landed in front of the school, allegedly. Landed in front
Oh
of the
no,
school.
you are the one where they landed was Africa. There's one where they crashed in Brazil.
Okay. Well, I remember there was a
Oh.
story about a UFO of some time landing in front of the school. All the
Yep.
children, every child saw it, came out and saw what was going on. They interviewed every single one of them individually, and they all had the exact same story.
Oh.
It-
Did they
it-
have proof? Did they have material?
Yeah, well, it was a
remember.
children's school, so they had kids, like, they separated them and said, okay, draw us a picture. And every single kid's drawing the same picture.
Well,
Like 40 or 50, I can't remember how many, but a lot of kids saw
okay,
the
but
same
where's
thing.
the crash?
No, it wasn't because they landed.
So this one, it just
Oh, it
landed,
and
and aliens got out and talked to people and then left.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But every single person gave the exact same story. So it's not like they like all got in a class and said, hey, let's all tell the same story. It was literally like, no, that's what happened.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Now, here's another theory that I kind of somewhat ascribe to, is if some of those stories, right, the one that you just told and stuff from the past, them crashing, that's hard to think about unless they've gone through and been damaged in some way. The other way to think about it that would explain them crashing and not being super good at it is it's commercial. Is
Oh,
we're a zoo of some sort.
Tourist
where
thing.
it's a tourist thing where you drive your private ship and you do a flyby, and you're not allowed to look. You're
True,
not allowed
because,
to
like,
land.
those
You're not
people,
allowed to
like,
touch.
drive it
you
on
can't
planes
go into the
crash.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then people are like, screw that rule. I'm going in the atmosphere.
What are they going to do? Stop me? I'm way out here. And then they
you can't
land.
Going too fast. Okay.
And then they try and land, and they're successful because they're good pilots. And they stop off and they talk, and then
Wow, we got to
Yeah.
get close to those ones. Look where they're blowing up stuff, man.
Yeah. Or they're like some drunk ass crashes his shit or something like that. That one
Okay.
would maybe explain it, but that's some advanced shit. I don't know. That one, it would make sense, but I don't.
Logical.
Yeah.
That is though, because it would make sense. That's what happens nowadays. You get people that go out for a Wild
touch a
West
buffalo.
experience. Yep. And they get on the horse and they're like, well, I don't want to just ride in the line. I'm going to kick this thing and see how fast it goes. Then they wreck it.
Or those missionaries that went to that or that tribe or whatever that was untouched or whatever, and,
And
they got attacked and killed, but they flew close to the helicopter and they were shooting arrows at the freaking helicopter.
Yes. Yep.
Hey, don't go next to the tribe. They're gonna shoot you.
Yeah. I like that. I could buy that.
That's kind of where I land.
So where are you at, Jordan?
I do think we've been visited. I actually have a weird story, like from when I was a kid, of that I saw, and I saw it with multiple people, and we corroborated stories like a couple years ago. I hadn't talked to them for like 10 years. I was like, hey, do you remember what happened here? And they said the exact same thing that I remembered. I was like, oh shit, I'm not making this up. So I could tell that on another time. But it was pretty. What's it called when you see? What's it called when like Joseph Smith saw Jesus and he like comes back?
Revelation.
Yeah, a revelation of some kind. That's where like my alien stuff really kicked off with me. Was
Okay.
stuff that I thought I saw that I then confirmed. I was like, oh, it wasn't just me. I'm not just psychopath or thinking of stuff or whatever. But I can tell it another time. So if I were to actually think about it, I think that I don't understand what the hell's going on, and I don't know if I ever will unless they came out and said what was going on.
Yep.
But knowing that we're like 3-dimensional creatures, and I've told you guys this before, we're 3-dimensional creatures that our thoughts can only go 3-dimensional. Like we can't really think outside into 4th, 5th, 6th dimensions. I think there are creatures that can. I think there's something that can. And I think that could explain a lot of what it is. Could explain almost everything paranormal. It could explain everything alien. Is that they can come and go when they please, and we don't know. We don't know any different. So I think that we've been visited, but not necessarily by some that we even understand.
That makes sense.
Little interstellar.
Yeah, kind of. Or something that could
They
just
were fourth dimensional, right?
pop into something, just, I'm here. Oh, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Oh?
And that explains some of what were you saying? It's like ghost type stuff. We think it's just in and out. It's just
Yeah,
them popping in and out of the dimension.
Exactly. I'm the same way with ghosts.
Yep.
I don't believe
They're
in heaven and
aliens.
hell. I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in ghosts. And the reason I believe in ghosts is the same thing. I believe it's something that we just cannot explain. We can't comprehend, either interdimensionally or we haven't even discovered yet.
So they're not ghosts of people past. They're living,
Quite possibly.
fourth dimensional,
Correct. Quite possibly.
unexplainable beings.
Yep.
Pop in and out.
Yep.
I would say the thing that's convincing me otherwise is things like the government's doing. They're releasing stuff little by little, and they're like, guys, we don't know what it is, and we're trying to figure it out. That's where I'm like, dang, dude, like even the government's admitting that they're finding UAPs, unidentified
Aerial phenomenon.
Aerial
They
phenomenon.
changed it from UFO because
I know.
connotation of aliens.
But then you have like Brandon Fugel that was on a podcast the other day, and I listened to him, and he talked about the reason he bought Skinwalker Ranch is because he was a skeptic. And he had people on his ranch that wanted to come tour it that used to work with like Area 51 and stuff. And he was a skeptic, didn't believe in any of it, kind of wanted to buy it to disprove it. And then he did see a UFO with people there. And he said from that point on, he went from like being a skeptic to 100% believer. Like, and then, oh, no. He said there's skeptics, there's believers, then there's people that have actually witnessed something that's happened. I think he calls them witnesses or something. He's like, I am a witness now. Like I've seen something. Like I'm not just a believer.
Well, there's different echelons of encounters. There's like first kind, second kind, third kind, fourth kind of what happens. Whether you saw something, did you come in contact with something?
Oh yeah.
Did you get abducted?
Yes.
Did they ruin your life? Like,
And so that's what he's talking about is like he's actually seen something now to where it's like, dude, I don't just believe in it. Like I've seen it and can't deny it. And the cool thing is even with that experience, he talks about how they went back to the main cabin at Skinwalker Ranch. And the guy that runs it is like, hey, well, let's separate all of you and then hear your stories. That way it's not you're getting implanted memories because you're hearing it from him. And they pulled him aside and they had the same story from everyone. And it was a UFO. It did appear. And like, that's the type of stuff I'm like, man, this is crazy. But then I'm like, hey, well, what? He bought Skinwalker Ranch. He wants to commercialize it. So then I get into my skeptic hat on after hearing that.
Or say, of course, if you want to make money off this,
I know.
that's what you'd say.
he's
You have to
advertising
say-
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, aliens, they're out there.
Dun, dun, dun. Let's see, that's copyrighted.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of like rabbit holes you can go down with aliens. A lot. You could spend 15 years
I
talking
know.
about aliens.
2 half-hour shows.
Yeah, that's good. And we're about where we want to keep it.
Actually, the first one was 45 minutes.
Yeah, the first one went for a while. I was impressed.
Really?
45 minutes.
Because you were like, it'll be a short topic,
Oh,
and so it wasn't
short. I thought it would be like 20 minutes. I thought you were
But
going to be
that-
like, hey, here's what I do. Rule the world now. What are you going to bring up next?
But that's what I think. That's the whole point of a lunchtime conversation is like you just bring up some stupid little, hey, what do you think about when you go to sleep? And then it can turn into something fun if you actually explore it and talk about it versus like, oh, well, that's stupid. Because that's what, going back to the whole purpose of this podcast is to get people like, hey, dude, let's get out and connect a little bit when we go to lunch and not just, because there's times you'll go to lunch with people and you'll bring that up and it'll be like, I don't want to talk about that. It's like, okay. No, dude, talk about it. Have
They
some
won't
fun.
engage.
Yeah, they don't engage. Like, be like, here's what I think about, and
Here's
like,
the
open
key.
up a little bit. Be willing to be weird and have your ideas made fun of. It's not a big deal.
This is the key. That's how you make friends. This is how you get around people that you like talking to.
Yes.
Discover what they like talking about.
Yep.
I wonder what it's like for people that can't do this.
There's no
Like-
riffing. They don't know what riffing is, and
Yeah,
hanging out.
They don't get into these conversations. So sometimes you see people, you couldn't be friends with them. Weird, right? But then you see those same people with their friends, and they do this shit, right? They have these they may be weird ass conversations. They may have weird, but they're doing.
but it's what they latch onto.
Yeah,
it's
they,
their own.
they have these conversations where they can just riff back and forth and go and entertain each other this way. And then you have those friends, those people that can't do this. And it's always just, I don't let you into my mind.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is what it is. We watch sports or we bullshit over politics or whatever. And that's the end of it. Like, how good are those friendships? Are they true? Like, is it a lonely ass,
They're lonely in their minds, and they probably can't visualize stuff in their head.
Yep. I would agree.
they're those people.
They're those people.
They can't see in their head.
Yep. Because I look back on good friends that I've always had, and it was very easy to have deep conversations. Like my trip I take with my cousins and my brother every year, there's a cousin family that I go on a trip with every single year, and then my brother comes along, and we've always been close. And on that trip, like day one, it's like, hey, what do you think about aliens? And then like day two, it's like, hey, what do you think about death? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And it's just the deep conversation. We don't even ask like, hey, how's the weather?
Yeah,
up
dude, if
north?
I showed up to one of those and they went, all right, well, here's our itinerary and we're going to be grilling some s'mores at 9, meet back up. I'm like, fuck this trip. I don't want to be here.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, I want to be lost up in some weird stuff on vacation and let me relax a little bit.
Yes.
You can explore the weird, the wild, the odd, curiosity.
Boom.
There's the intro out.
There's like, yeah, there's some snippets in that you can paste together to get that intro. Yeah, this is so that we can talk and get shit going, man. You should be doing this out there. Yeah, the weird, the wild. Like you pin that together.
Yeah, sold another
So
car.
decoding the pattern leads them to a NASA installation where they learn of NASA's secret plan to save humanity. This is about Interstellar. A wormhole that leads to a near-distant planetary system has appeared near Saturn. So years ago, NASA sent 12 astronauts through it to find planets suitable for human life.
How do they know what's through it?
No, that's why they sent out the. I
So
think
they
you're
sent
right.
out-
They sent out the exploratory ships.
So there was a wormhole.
No, that's what
next to
you're right. They
Saturn.
sent out the exploratory ships that had a signal, and once they found a planet that was suitable for life,
It
they
was
flipped the
supposed to bring
signal.
it back.
Do you remember Matt Damon's character who was on the planet and it was
Yeah.
like icy, and it went to it? They're like, oh, there's life there because he's got a signal on, but the other signal was on the water planet, the giant water planet. It was because of that. They went through the wormhole, hit the signal, and they went, okay, now let's send the colony ship, the one with all the eggs on it.
Yep.
That's what it was.
So, and that was the thing, the wormhole. Matt Damon did go in cryo sleep because it was 14 years just to get to the wormhole. Like that's how long it took our spaceship. So he went in cryo sleep and would wake up and check messages from his daughter before he went through the wormhole. Because he told her, he's like, honey, I don't know. I'm at least going to be gone for 14 years, probably longer. And his daughter was like, what, 8 or 9 at the time?
Yeah.
And so he's like, when I come back, you might be my age. Like that's the conversation he has with her. Just because it was 14 years to get there, who knows how long he would be in the wormhole at these other planetary systems.
Right. Oh, and then when they go to that water planet, the people who had died there only died like
Hours before.
Yeah. Like they had barely landed because it was next to the black hole.
The beacon was just the waves. Just
yeah. So they had landed. And they had been like, oh, this is a good place.
There's
Step
water.
a ton. And like to them, they had just died.
Yeah.
Like, an hour prior.
Yep.
Before they show up 15 years later.
So crazy.
And then when
Yeah,
they get
movie.
when they get back, it's only been 20 minutes. That's
Guy's
like,
an old man.
but he's been studying the black hole for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is.
I think they were on that planet for, I don't remember, but a huge amount of time.
Yeah, but they were only there for 20 minutes. They
yes.
experienced 20 minutes.
Yep. Time is such a, like, we could do a whole podcast on time because the whole fact of, isn't it the faster you go, the slower you experience time? So like if you go to the speed of light, the speed of
you would
light-
experience it the same. Everything around you would be going
yes, that's what I mean.
much
So
lower. Or is it faster?
faster. So if you go
No.
so like one of the books.
If I go the speed of light, I'm going speed of light, while you guys on Earth are going to be going slower than me.
No, faster.
Sure?
Yeah. So one of the books I read, he's traveling to a different planet. He's going fast, not as fast as the speed of light, but way faster than anything ever. So it only takes him experience wise, like I think, I don't know. Long story short, everything else moves faster, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it
You
is.
might be right. I know it's one. It's
that's
still
so
weird.
kind
Time
to think
slows
of-
down for you.
Weird that it's a
That's
real
traveling
it's a real
close to the
thing.
speed of light.
Yes, your time slows down because
Which that's so
you only experience 20 minutes. When in reality, the time that passed was a year or whatever. Time for you slows down
Yeah, time is
the
weird.
faster you go. How do you prove that?
But
I
the
think
problem
that's-
is you'd have to have a watch that would work and then get back to the main watch to be able to sync up and go, oh, what happened?
So that's how they've proved it is they put watches in, or they put clocks in space and on Earth because you experience gravity differently. The faster you go, the more gravity you are. And so that's that's kind of the equation. So like when you're on Earth, you experience time faster than you do on space because there's more gravity on Earth.
Technically,
If
when
you're
you're
next to
driving a car, you're actually aging faster than everyone.
slower.
Sorry, yeah, you would be slower. Everyone is not. They're aging faster than you.
You can find us on Instagram at a lunchtime conversation or on Twitter at a lunchtime convo.
contemplate.